Tutorial we will see how to pass pointers to a function. Whenever we are working with the function, sometimes there is a requirement that we have to transfer some values from the calling function to the called function. In that case, we have two types of methods for passing your arguments or values from the calling function to the called function. The two ways are pass by value and call by reference. There are the two methods. In our first method where we pass by value, in this method we will pass the value or the argument from the calling function to your called function. Here we are sending the actual value of the variable. In that case, in the function call, the arguments that are written are called your actual arguments, and the arguments that are written in the function definition are called your formal arguments. Whenever we are using the pass by value method, in that case we will send the value of our variable from the calling function to the called function. Like we can see in the diagram, suppose we have two variables a and b. The a variable is stored at an address of 2000 and the b variable is stored at an address of 2004. Whenever we call a function from our main, we are sending our a variable and b variable to our calling function, where we have declared the two another variable x and y. The x and y variable in the called function are at an address of 5000 and 5004. Whenever we use pass by value method, in that case we are sending our a variable, the value of a variable, through our x variable, and the value of b, which is your 50, is being sent to your y variable. Means in that case, at the 5000 memory location we are storing 40, and at 5004 memory location we are storing 50. Now if in our function we perform some operation on these x and y and make changes in the values of x and y, suppose that we are using here an example of swapping. Means we are swapping the values of x and y. In that case the function will perform a swap of values. In that case the x will contain 50 after the output and y will contain 40. Means we are interchanging the values of x and y variable. Now if after this function call, if we again print the value of a and b, then in that case the value of a and b will come out to be again 40 and 50 only. Means if we make changes in our function to the values, those changes will not be reflected back in the called function. From where we are calling the function, in that function there will not be any changes in the values. So in pass by value method, what we are actually doing, we are making a copy of our variables at some other memory location. These are different memory location which are your actual arguments, and these x and y are the copy of a and b, and these are stored at different memory location and have different values. If we change the value of x and y in our call function, that changes will not be reflected back from where the function is being called. Let's see this thing in our program. Suppose we have two variable, a assign 40 and b assign 50. Now we will print the values of a and b before calling the function. That one %d a comma b. Now we will call our swap function and we will transfer the arguments from our function to the another function. So we will write the arguments here a comma b. Now after calling function we will again print the values of a and b. %d space %d comma a comma b. That one. Now we'll define our function void swap int x comma int y. Here we are declare some another variable temporary. Now we will assign a value to our temp variable. Temp is equal to temp assign x. We will store the value of x in our temporary variable. Then we will assign x the value of y variable, and in that case we are transferring the value of y towards the x, and now we will transfer the value of x in our y. We have stored the value of x in a temporary variable, so we will assign y the value of temp. So in that case, if we print the value of x and y, printf value of x, here the value of x we will take %d x, and value of y %d comma y. New line. Same thing we can do here. Here we will write after swapping. So that we can know the values that are printed are after swapping our variables. Now we can execute our function. We can compile and run it. So here you can see on your screen the value of a and b before calling function. That one is your a assign 40, b assign 50. So that one is your the value of a and b is your 40 and 50. After that you have called a function, you have transferred the value of a and b towards your function, where you have declared the two variables x and y. Means we are storing the value of a in our x variable and we are storing the value of b in our y variable. So that one, after that we will print the value of x and y. The value of x is equal to 40, which is the value of a, and value of y is 50, which is the value of b. After that we have performed the swapping. We have transferred the value of x in our temporary variable. After that we have transferred the value of y towards the x, and we assign the value again, value of y to temp. So in that case we have swapped our x and y variable, and after swapping the value of x is your 50 and value of y is your 40. Means we have make changes in our x and y variable, which are the values of a and b. But after that function, if we again print the value of a and b from our calling function, the value of a and b still 40 and 50. So there will not be any changes in our a and b variable, because we have worked on a different memory location. Right here we have different memories for our x and ab variable. So in case if we have make changes in our x and y variable, we are making changes at 5000 and 5004 memory locations. These are different than a and b. So if any changes we have made at 5000 and 5000 memory location, those changes will not be shown at 2000 and 2004 memory locations. So this is the pass by value method. So our pass by value method is basically working on two different pages. We have two pages. On our first page we have some values. We have copied those values to our second page. If we make any changes in our second page, we will edit the values in our second page, then you will not see those changes in your first page, because if you want to make changes in your first page, you have to edit the first page separately. That is the your pass by value. You are making changes at different memory location. If you want to see those changes similar on the other memory location, you have to make changes at different memory locations at separately. So this is your pass by value method. The second method that we use to transfer arguments, to pass our arguments to a function, is pass by reference. In pass by reference method, we actually doesn't send the values of the variable. Here we transfer the addresses of our variable to our function. In this method we use pointers. To transfer the addresses of our variable, we will use the pointers. The pointers points towards the addresses where the variable store the value. The method for writing, where you are calling a function, you will write function name, and in the parentheses you will write the a and b variable using address of operator. Here we write address of a comma address of b. So here we are not transferring the value of a and b variable. Actually we are assigning the address of a variable and address of b variable. And where we define our function, here we will write the pointers, function name, and in the parentheses we are declaring our pointer. First one is a pointer x and pointer y. So the addresses of a variable and addresses of b variable are being transferred to these pointers. In diagrammatical form, what here will be happen, we have our a variable which is at memory location 2000, our b variable which is our memory location 2004, and we have declared our pointer x and pointer y. The pointer x is at memory location 5000 and pointer y is at memory location 5004. Whenever this function call is executed, in that case the address of a, which is 2000, is transferred to the pointer x. So pointer x will store the address of a variable, and similarly the address of b variable, which is 2004, is transferred to our pointer y. So pointer y will store the address of b variable, which is your 2004. Now if we perform some operations on our x and y, then those operations are being performed at memory location 2000 and 2004. Now if we swap the value, if in our function we are swapping the value at pointer x and pointer y, in that case the function is swapping the values at address 2000 and 2004. At the memory location 2000 we have stored 40, and at the memory location 2004 we have stored 50. So if we interchange the values at address 2000 and 2004, in that case in our x pointer we are going to store 50, and in our memory location 2004, which is at pointer y, we are going to store 40. So we are actually making changes at these memory location. So if we make any changes in our called function, those changes are going to be reflected back in our calling function. So if we print the value of a and b after using the function, the values here are also changed. In your a variable you will find 50, and in your b variable you will find 40. So basically pass by reference is working on a same page. You have a same page. If you make changes in your page, you have added the values on your page, then those values are itself being reflected on that page. So that one is your pass by reference. We will see the same example in our program. So we have taken the same program and we have done here address of a and address of b. We will transfer the function, we are using the function, and we are assigning the address of variable a and address of variable b. And in our function call where we declare the variable, we will declare here pointer variable. We will write int asterisk x and int indirection operator and y. We will delete it. Here we'll write temp indirection operator x. It will transfer the value which is at address which is stored in x to your temp. And next indirection operator x, indirection operator y, and indirection operator y assign temp. Here we are using the pointers, and these pointers are pointing towards the addresses of a and b. So when we are working this pointer, we are working with a and b variable itself. Now let's run this program. So like this. Now you will see first this printf statement will execute values of a and b before calling the function. The value of a is your 40 and value of b is your 50. After that we have called the function. the value of A and B are being transferred. Basically not value, we are transferring the addresses of A variable and addresses of B variable are transferred towards the function, and these addresses are being stored in X pointer and Y pointer. After that, the value which is at X pointer is being assigned to our temporary variable, and the value which is at pointer Y is being assigned to pointer X. After that, we have assigned the value which is stored at temporary at an address of at a location which is pointed by Y pointer. So actually we are here swapping the value of A and B. And after that, if we go back to our called function, from where this function is being called, we will print the value of A and B. We can see the values of A and B after calling the function is 50 and 40. So we have swapped the value of A and B in our function, but those changes are being reflected back in our called function. This is the change in our pass by reference method, where we will transfer the addresses of our memory location to the call function, and in the call function, if we make changes in our memory locations, those changes are being reflected back in our called function.